Doc Rivers, man. There's so much to say about this man, and I really don't know how I feel about Doc. I feel like you got that ring with the big three. You're a part of that, but I don't think that one championship makes you the greatest coach that everyone else sees you to be, or was everyone's proclaiming you to be. But we got a video here. You know what I'm saying? JJ Reddick going at Doc Rivers. Apparently, he's exposed Doc Rivers. We're going to check this out right now.
Doc Rivers got bombarded out of nowhere by JJ Reddick. Other people got involved and it became chaos in the blink of an eye.
Nobody's going to react to Doc's audio. I've seen the trend for years.
What's the trend?
The trend is always making excuses. It's always throwing your team under the bus. They lose to Memphis. Oh, it's his players' fault. Memphis was playing G League guys and two-way guys. There's never accountability with that guy.
JJ was reacting to the clip of Doc's post-game press conference following.
For one thing, I don't think Doc is as good of a coach as we portray. Like, some people have him as like a no-brainer, like, yo, this man's Hall of Fame bound. Like, I think that team that he had was nutty. Like, that's a crazy lineup. The team he had was type crazy. And I think a lot of players I've heard say that they win despite of Doc rather than because of Doc. And this shows in all the 3-1 leads, right? These teams aren't well coached compared to who they're losing to. There's no way you should be up 3-1 and you should be getting spanked by all these teams this many times, repeatedly. And it's like, at what point do we say a really good coach would have won all those games and all those championships probably? You know what I mean? Like, who's to say Doc shouldn't have 5-6 rings now if you were that boy that you say you are?
Following Milwaukee's most embarrassing loss of the season, losing to a bunch of G League players in Memphis.
Two guys forget what we're running. Then we miss a shot and then nobody gets back. That tells you all you need to know about where our heads were. We had some guys here and we had some guys in Cabo.
Now, before going deeper in the drama, I can't stress enough.
But part of their job as a coach is to rally the troops and get these guys to play and not be in Cabo. Part of your job is to motivate and inspire and lead and make these guys want to go play hard instead of wanting to go chill in Cabo. Like, the whole thing about you getting the job there seems so fishy and so sneaky that it's like, you could tell Giannis wanted that move and not really nobody else. And when the best player on the team says something, it's kind of like the best player. When you're Giannis, what you say goes. And it's kind of shitty, kind of slimy how you get the job. Is there an advisor and shit? And like, the fact that you got to coach the All-Star game off of another man's success is crazy.
Enough how bad this was. The Bucks are supposed to be a super team and a title favorite, while the entire Grizzlies team basically is injured. They signed guys to 10-day contracts just to have someone step out on the court and play. I mean, look at the starting five. Vince Williams, Santi Aldama, Trey Jamison, Zaire Williams, and Jordan Goodwin. How did this actually happen? This was a culmination of the horrible 3-7 start for Rivers as the head coach of the Bucks. The Inside the NBA crew absolutely clowned Milwaukee for this loss.
10-day contracts.
It got so bad for Milwaukee, they went to a zone.
Yeah.
They lost to a bunch of dudes on 10 days.
Yeah, and not only on 10 days, Shaq, a lot of those guys, like a one and dones or like a Gigi Jackson in those situations, they would have trouble. Who's the number one team in the country right now? UConn?
UConn, really good.
They'd have trouble with UConn. Like, it'd be a good game.
So in the post-game, Doc goes and says,
That's crazy, and for y'all to be losing to a team like that is nuts. It says a lot about Doc.
Dad, and on an off day with no NBA games, JJ decides to fire away at him on national TV. So now it gets interesting because Austin Rivers is a colleague of Reddick at ESPN, and he had something to say about it as well.
I just simply don't agree with it. For someone who's not accountable, he seems to always be held responsible, considering he's the guy that's always fired when things don't go right. He got fired in the bubble for a 3-1 lead versus the Denver Nuggets. Then he gets fired for losing to a team that was favored over him, which was the Celtics last year. Seems like he's always responsible. It's just as strange coming from JJ.
Okay, but you say those things on live television as if they're good things. Like, being held accountable for being bad should not be your defense. Your defense, honestly, you really don't have a defense, bro. Like, exactly what you just said is the reason why your dad is like it doesn't make sense that he's renowned as like up there with Popovich and just up there with like all those. There's no way.
Your best years in the NBA were when you played for him in the Clippers. Let's not forget that. I don't know if there's like frustration there or it's just very ironic and kind of weird that you have this energy towards him in terms of him never ever being accountable, considering he's always been responsible.
Austin tried to kind of stand up for Doc without it looking too confrontational, and I respect that. But Patrick Beverley also joins the conversation, and you know he's not afraid to go at people. This man, Doc, actually saved your career, started you when no one else wanted to, and you retire and go on TV and say that. JJ responds saying that he had an offer from another team for the same amount of money and for the same role of being a starter. And Beverley fires away one last time with this tweet. So while we don't exactly know why JJ went all out on his former coach, I do know why Pat Bev got up to defend him. He's all about loyalty and doesn't forget what happened in the past.
This is a person who's, I signed $40 million under Doc. I gotta give a lot of credit to my career when it comes to Doc. I know how he likes the game to be played. I know what he wants, so it was easy. Yeah, that's easy.
Now, speaking of the past, we know that JJ's Clippers team under Doc was notorious for having awful team chemistry. Players.
And that's the other thing about Doc. I'm gonna put it to you like this. Think about the best teams you've been on. Or maybe even think about your favorite class, right, in school. The favorite classes that you took in school. You either had a really cool coach or a really cool teacher that made that class super fun. And the feeling of playing for said coach or being in said class with said teacher, they almost made you want to do whatever it was. Say it was math. You had a really fun math class. No. Let's say it was science.
Yes, science!
You had a really cool science teacher. And you really love going to his class just to be around that teacher, right? Like, that's kind of feeling you need to have as a coach, like that aura, that pull. Like, I feel like with Doc's teams, it's like player drama is always like people beefing. And that's like the bad foundation is what makes it crumble in the playoffs, right? Like the best teams, you see the motherfuckers, they be loving each other. Like Denver, Michael Porter Jr., you see Jokic's podcast, like they love being together. Like you feel like the team is one connected unit. And you don't get that feeling with Doc teams.
Players were beefing with each other and possibly JJ had something going on with Rivers. I don't see any other reason why Reddick would suddenly change the topic during a debate just to go back to Rivers and snap at him. There's gotta be some bad blood there. As for his take, honestly, he's right. Doc always finds a way to deflect the blame. Even when reporters asked him about having the most 3-1 leads blown in the playoffs, he still had a way out.
I wish I would tell the whole story, all right? My Orlando team was the 8th seed. No one gives me credit for getting up against the Pistons who won the title. That was an 8th seed. I dare you to go back and look at that roster, and you would say, what a hell of a coaching job. The Clipper team that we lost 3-1.
Hell no.
Oh, hell no.
I blame you for each one, boy. What? You can't just skate off that. Like, you can't just skate off the fact that you were coaching these teams that all blew 3-1 leads. Like, there's no way. You are single-handedly a record-breaking loser.
Oh, didn't play in the first 2 games and was playing on one leg. And we didn't have home court. And then the last one, to me, is the one we blew. And that was in the bubble. But it just happens.
And now there's a new video of him talking about how he didn't want the Milwaukee job, but it was the owners that dragged them into it. Are you kidding me?
Personally,
You said you didn't want the job?
What did he say?
That is crazy cap. And that's my thing about you, Doc. That's why players don't like you, is that, you dead ass going bold-face a lie to cover your own ass. And that's wild. Like, the best coaches would, take the bullet for you. The best guys in the team, when you get in front of the media, it's almost your responsibility as the leader, as the head guy, as the face of the snake. Face of the franchise, head of the snake, take responsibility, take accountability, and defend the people that you're going to battle with. You don't just deflect the blame on them, and that's why I'm not fucking resent you.
To be honest, I told our owners when they called, I said, I don't understand why you're doing this, And they said, one of the things they said was, well, it doesn't matter. We've done it now. We want you. And so that was a tough one. That's where you had the hesitation.
Man, we got drama even during the All-Star break on an off day. But thing is, there was drama during the All-Star weekend as well. There were a lot of controversies during the Saturday events, like counting threes that shouldn't have counted and giving horrible scores during the slam dunk contest. I expose everything in this video, so
I appreciate it if you subscribed and like this video so I can know that you enjoy this content and I can keep bringing you stuff like this on a regular basis.